My name is Jose Hadathy. I'm an illustrator, graphic designer, and currently the design manager for Atlanta United. And I was chosen to make the official FIFA World Cup 2026 Atlanta poster. I do several different types of design for Atlanta United, from apparel designs for retail to digital graphics and posters. I've spent so many different parts of my life here, college, where I kind of took the train to get everywhere, and so I got to know the city in that way. I love the street art of Atlanta. I love how the city just embraces art in general. I love going to the High Museum. Soccer's been like the one constant in my life. Some of my first memories were either playing soccer or being in the stands at the stadium or in front of a TV supporting our local team in Ecuador. So art and soccer have been my two passions my whole life, kind of side by side. So now to get to combine them into a career is a dream come true for sure. We started to brainstorm and make a list of themes and elements that we wanted to include in this poster that we thought were important. Things like the canopy, different symbols. And so once FIFA released the host city color palette, I saw that there was some greens and blues, and so I thought a landscape would be a great way to show the city through this poster. And so I immediately started sketching, doing rough sketches of what I thought the outline would be, how I wanted the poster to kind of develop, and the basis was blue skies and a green canopy. The one goal was to show the excitement that the tournament was bringing to the city and communicate that through the poster. So there's a lot of details here, and a lot of them people might not notice it. Some of them are very obvious, but some of them, for example, the fact that the streets come together to make the shape of the panels on a soccer ball might not be easily noticeable at first. And the goal was to create a work of art that you would be able to look at for a long time, and every time you saw it you would feel a little bit more connected to it, or you would gain something from it. So the peach was chosen to represent the state of Georgia, and the idea was to make a peach pattern around the border of the poster, referencing the fact that Atlanta is a cultural hub. And so when you look at the pattern, you're meant to think of textiles from fashion, floral patterns that you might see in graphic design, different types of art. And so this is to reference the fact that some of the best art in the world is made in Atlanta. And so you can see our skyline in the middle, and you have the buildings from downtown and midtown Atlanta. Then here is Clark Atlanta University, which is the first HBCU in the south of the United States. And this just shows the importance that HBCUs have had and continue to have to the city of Atlanta. These are two traditional homes from the West End neighborhood of Atlanta. You have the Hammond home here and then the Wren's Nest. The solar panels on the roof of the house are there to reference the fact that sustainability is important to the city of Atlanta, and that the World Cup games will be played at the first true zero waste certified stadium in the world. You see the Georgia State Capitol building, and I put that there to reference the fact that the whole state of Georgia will be on the world stage in 2026, not just the city of Atlanta. Then you have a soccer field here that's underneath the train tracks, and this is referencing the station soccer fields that we have at several train stations in the city, and that's just a unique way that the city has embraced the sport of soccer and makes it more accessible. So here you see a MARTA train on the tracks that go from one side of the city to the other, and that's to show that public transportation is super important to the city of Atlanta and to connect the citizens of the city. And as you follow the train tracks up to the skyline, in the back you see an air traffic control tower, and that's referencing that we have the world's busiest airport, and that when you arrive to Atlanta in the airport you can go directly to the stadium and to the hotels around it on public transportation without needing a car. So next to the field you'll see a tunnel covered in graffiti, and this is referencing the famous Krog Street Tunnel. And this is to show that the city of Atlanta not only embraces but celebrates street art. Below that you'll see the rainbow crosswalks that are in Midtown, and this is referencing the fact that Atlanta is a very inclusive and progressive city. Then behind the train tracks you'll see Martin Luther King Jr.'s home, and this is a reference to how important he was and also the civil rights movement was to not just the history of Atlanta but of this country. Next to that is a traditional home that you would find in Inman Park, the neighborhood of East Atlanta. And in the middle, you'll see that the canopy of trees come together to form the oculus shape on the roof of Mercedes-Benz Stadium to show again that we're leaders in sustainability. And from this shape is emerging a group of fans, and we're communicating the excitement of the tournament through them. And the shirts that they're wearing show our color palette from FIFA. And the diversity shown here in the fans is meant to represent not just the diversity of the city of Atlanta, but also of the people from around the world that will be visiting the city for the tournament. Above them, you'll see a large peach that is splitting open, and emerging instead of a seed, you have the world and a golden soccer ball all in one. And this has several meanings, but the idea is that Georgia has a deep history of soccer. Professional teams ranging from the Atlanta Chiefs, the Ruckus, the Atlanta Beat, now Atlanta United, and many others. And then the world is signifying that Atlanta and Georgia are opening themselves up to receive the world for the tournament in 2026. And then the gold is meant to symbolize victory, and the globe, along with the pose that fan has with his arms spread wide, is a subtle nod to the World Cup trophy. I wanted this to be something that a diverse group of people could identify with. I hope that people who are familiar with Atlanta feel like I represented the city well and feel like they can connect to part of the poster. I want the excitement that I feel for the tournament to communicate through the poster. And for people who don't know Atlanta or are going to visit Atlanta, I hope that this gives them a glimpse into what the city is like, what our culture is like, and that it gets them excited to want to come and actually experience the city themselves.